Every legend has a beginning, and for Shohei Ohtani, that beginning was thousands of miles away from the bright lights of Los Angeles, in the quiet city of Oshu, in Japan's Iwate prefecture, a place surrounded by mountains, cold winters, and a deep love for baseball, long before the world called him Showtime, long before the 100-mile-per-hour fastballs, the towering home runs, the most valuable player awards, and the historic contract. Shohei was simply a boy with a dream so enormous that even the baseball world itself struggled to believe it was possible. He was born into an athletic family, and his father, Toru, had played baseball for a semi-professional team, while his mother, Kyoko, had competed in badminton, and from an early age, Shohei was surrounded by discipline, repetition, and the understanding that talent meant absolutely nothing without work. His father helped coach him in baseball, teaching him not only how to play the game, but how to study it, how to improve, and how to remain humble, even when everyone around him began realizing that this quiet kid from Iwate was different. And different might actually be an understatement, and because Shohei didn't want to choose, baseball had always told players that they had to become one thing: a pitcher, or a hitter, an arm, or a bat. But Shohei looked at those rules and imagined something completely different. He wanted to dominate from the pitcher's mound and then walk to the plate and destroy the baseball with his bat. People had seen two-way players before, but in the modern game, almost nobody believed someone could do both at the absolute highest level. At Hanamaki Higashi High School, the dream began to become terrifyingly real. Shohei developed into one of Japan's most exciting young baseball talents, throwing pitches at speeds rarely seen from a teenager, while also showing the power and athletic ability to become a dangerous hitter. Major league teams noticed him, scouts crossed oceans to watch him, and Shohei openly dreamed of going directly to America. But his journey would first take him through Japanese professional baseball. The Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters believed in something others were afraid to try. They allowed him to develop as both a pitcher and a hitter, and slowly, the impossible experiment started working. Shohei wasn't simply surviving in two roles, he was becoming a star in both. He could overpower hitters from the mound, and then punish pitchers at the plate, and suddenly the question was no longer whether he could do both. The question became just how far this unbelievable talent could go. But crossing the Pacific Ocean changed everything, because when Shohei Ohtani arrived in Major League Baseball with the Los Angeles Angels, the doubts followed him everywhere. Could his body survive the workload? Could a Japanese player really hit elite major league pitching while also being an elite major league pitcher? Would he eventually be forced to choose? Some critics believed the experiment would fail. Some believed the competition would expose him. And then came the injuries. These were Shohei Ohtani's devastating ouch moments, the moments that could have destroyed the entire dream. His elbow failed him. Tommy John's surgery took him away from pitching. And just when the world wanted to see the impossible, his body reminded everyone how brutally difficult the impossible actually was. He fought his way back, only to face more physical setbacks throughout his career. And in 2023, another major elbow injury ended his season as a pitcher. Once again, surgery, rehabilitation, uncertainty. And once again, the baseball world wondered whether the two-way dream had finally reached its limit, but Shohei Ohtani refused to become ordinary. He returned from his earlier setbacks and produced seasons that looked like they belonged in a video game, launching enormous home runs while striking out major league hitters with devastating pitches. He became an American League Most Valuable Player, then did it again, unanimously, proving that what people once called impossible had become reality. He didn't simply revive the idea of the two-way player, he completely redefined what a baseball player could be, and then came one of the most cinematic moments of his entire career at the 2023 World Baseball Classic Final, Japan against the United States, the championship on the line, and standing between Shohei Ohtani and baseball immortality was his own Angels teammate, Mike Trout. One of the greatest hitters of his generation, the count went full, the entire baseball world watched, and Ohtani struck him out to win the championship for Japan, and it was almost too perfect to be real, and the world's most extraordinary player finishing one of baseball's greatest tournaments by defeating one of the world's greatest hitters. But for all the individual greatness, something was still missing. Winning at the highest level in Major League Baseball. For years with the Angels, Ohtani produced performances the sport had never seen. But October kept slipping away. No postseason games, no World Series, no championship celebration, a greatness without the team success he desperately wanted. Then everything changed. Shohei Ohtani signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers, agreeing to a historic $700 million contract that sent shockwaves around the entire sports world. But even that massive number did not tell the full story, and because Ohtani agreed to defer the overwhelming majority of the money, giving the Dodgers greater financial flexibility to continue building a championship-level team around him, it was another sign that his goal was never simply to become rich, he wanted to win. And in his very first season wearing Dodger blue, while unable to pitch as he recovered from elbow surgery, and Shohei somehow found another way to rewrite baseball history. He became the first player in Major League history to enter the 50 home run, 50 stolen base club, finishing the 2024 regular season with 54 home runs and 59 stolen bases. A combination of power and speed that had never existed before at that level, and on the night he officially created the 50-50 club, he delivered one of the most unbelievable individual performances baseball had ever witnessed. 6 hits, 3 home runs, 10 runs batted in, and 2 stolen bases. A performance so absurd that it felt less like professional baseball and more like someone had turned the difficulty setting off. Then came the moment he had waited his entire Major League career to experience: October baseball. For the first time, Shohei Ohtani stepped into the postseason, and by the end of that journey the Los Angeles Dodgers were World Series champions. The boy from Iwate, the teenager who dreamed of crossing the Pacific, the player who had been told that doing both was impossible, the superstar who endured surgeries, rehabilitation, and years without a single postseason appearance, was finally standing at the top of Major League Baseball. And perhaps the most remarkable part of Shohei Ohtani's journey is that even after becoming one of the most famous athletes on earth, he has remained intensely private, disciplined, and focused on the game. He built a global empire without needing to constantly chase attention. He became an international icon while carrying himself with the same controlled focus that defined the quiet young player from Iwate. He married Mamiko Tanaka, a former professional basketball player, built a family, and continued carrying the expectations of millions of fans across Japan, America, and the rest of the world. Today, Shohei Ohtani stands as something baseball was never supposed to see again: an elite power hitter, an elite pitcher, a champion, and a global superstar capable of changing the limits of the sport itself. He has won Most Valuable Player awards, conquered the World Baseball Classic, made history with the first 50-50 season, won a World Series with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and built a career that once sounded completely impossible. From the quiet fields of Iwate, Japan, to the roaring crowds of Dodger Stadium, from a young boy dreaming of becoming a professional baseball player, to becoming one of the most extraordinary athletes the sport has ever witnessed, Shohei Ohtani didn't simply become a baseball star. He challenged the rules of what a baseball player was allowed to be. They told players to choose between pitching and hitting. Shohei chose both. They wondered if his body could survive, and he kept coming back. They questioned whether his greatness could lead to a championship, and eventually, he reached the top. Shohei Ohtani didn't just play the game. He changed what the game believed was possible.